That's part of the access panel. It's not supposed to be rusted solid. Well, that's an overview of what I have to work with. It's not a pretty picture. I was going to raise the cab, finish off the frame, and when I started raising the cab, it started to buckle. So, as you can see here, this piece here and that support over there started bending. So there's no way I can raise the cab and finish off the frame, so my scheduling has changed and I have to get the floors fixed in the cab before I can do anything else. And then I can raise it and work on the frame. So for the next few videos, this is going to be definitely a multi-part video, because there's a lot of work that has to be done here. I could go and buy a full floor and spend about $580. I could buy a new firewall, spend another $350. I could replace the two sections here and over there and spend about $80 a piece. And these Fuller braces, which are absolutely garbage now. See if I can get a good shot. That's the floor brace right there. That's supposed to be supporting the floor. And as you can see, it just buckled completely up. And there's one over there, and there's a couple more I think in the back. And they're about $50 a piece. So we're well over $1,000 of metal to replace all of that. But this is just rusty, but it's solid, so I don't need to replace that. But if I would do the panel here, panel over there, and some other pieces here in the braces, I'm still $400 or $500 up. Or I could buy this piece of 18 gauge steel, and it cost me a grand total of $25. It's 4 foot by 5 foot. If that's not enough to do all of this, then it's in really bad shape. But it is definitely in really bad shape. I've got some 3/4 inch square tubing that I will use for bracing, and I am going to rebuild most everything in front of the seat, because most everything in front of the seat is just garbage. So that will take several episodes. Then I can go in and work on the front of the firewall and these kick panels over here and the holes in the holes in the back of the cab, and show you basically what I'm doing. This is where the filler neck used to be. I filled it in with metal and got first couple of coats of, then I put the direct to metal primer over that so that it wouldn't rust. And now I'm starting to put filler over it and smooth it out and contour it to the shape that it's supposed to be. And that was the first thing that I did. And then I discovered all of this horrifying rust that is going to make my life miserable for the foreseeable future. And a lot of these things are going to have to be made because they're just astronomical if you try and buy them from the aftermarket. And I don't need full pieces of anything, I don't think. I just need little sections. So I will make the sections that I need and graft them into the metal that's there, paint everything with a paint on rust paint. Speaking of that, down here, like that piece and that piece were all peeling off, as you can see here. This is all appears to be paint on rust paint that is actually coming off. And there's another section. I don't need this whole piece, I just need this bottom section. So I will make that and put it in there. The firewall, I have a spot there. I can make that and replace it and be good to go. So I think the problem with most of the paint on rust paints, and from what I've been learning, most everything is, when it has to do with paint, if you don't do it, prepare everything correctly, you will fail every time. It doesn't matter whose brand it is. If you don't prepare the surface correctly, it will fail. Rust has to have three things. It needs moisture, it needs air, and it needs metal to corrode. If you take away any one of those three things, it will prevent it from rusting and destroying your project. The paint on rust paint is supposed to seal it from moisture and from air. And if you ever get any of that in there, or if there's any contamination where it can't seal itself directly to the metal, then it will fail. And the paint on rust paints that are out there, they are moisture cured. Most of your rattle cans, most of your automotive paints, they cure with air. These actually cure with moisture. And the humidity that's in the air cures them, and the more humidity actually, the better it is, the faster they will cure. I live in Florida. We have plenty of moisture in the air for the paint to dry. So I will be using it on a lot of this. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be structurally sound. Because you're going to put, I may put sound deadening over it. I will definitely be putting carpeting over it. And nobody will see the repairs. So the painting doesn't have to be perfect. I don't need a $5,000 show car quality paint on the inside because it's all going to be covered with carpeting. So that's one advantage that I will have repairing this floor. Until next time, I will see you all later with my next installment.